You think your biggest enemy is the person standing against you. Wrong. The real danger begins when someone decides to make you their target without warning. No announcement, no permission, no reason, just a silent decision made somewhere in the dark. While you were busy living your life, somebody was planning their next move. While you were trying to find peace, they were preparing chaos. And then, in just a few hours, everything changed. The conversations felt different. The looks became colder. The pressure became heavier. The ground beneath your feet started moving, and you couldn't understand why. That's how battles begin. Not with explosions, not with noise, with small shifts that most people ignore. The frightening part isn't that someone declared war against you. The frightening part is realizing how quickly people reveal their true faces when the situation changes. Loyalty disappears, masks fall, secrets surface. The people who once stood beside you suddenly step back and watch. Most people panic when they feel attacked. They react emotionally. They lose control. They waste energy fighting shadows. But pressure has a strange way of exposing what you're really made of. Some break, some run, some beg for mercy, and some become impossible to stop. Because the moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" everything changes. Fear becomes focus. Pain becomes fuel. Betrayal becomes information. Every attack becomes a lesson. Every obstacle becomes a weapon. 8 hours can destroy a weak mindset. 8 hours can also create a stronger version of you than years of comfort ever could. The clock keeps moving. The battle keeps coming. The question is whether you're still the same person who walked into it. War rarely begins with a loud announcement. It begins with a decision made inside someone's mind. One moment they smile at you, shake your hand, speak your name with respect, and the next moment, they quietly decide that your existence bothers them. They don't send invitations. They don't explain themselves. They simply choose you as the target. That's the part most people never understand. They think enemies appear after arguments. But the most dangerous enemies are born in silence. Some people can't stand watching someone stay calm while they're falling apart. They can't accept that you keep moving forward without asking for permission. Your confidence insults their insecurity. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your silence becomes louder than their endless talking. Without realizing it, you become the mirror they desperately want to break, because every time they look at you, they are reminded of everything they refuse to become. The first attack almost never looks like an attack. It hides behind rumors, strange behavior, fake concern, polite smiles, and carefully chosen words. It looks harmless until the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Suddenly doors begin closing. Opportunities disappear. People who once supported you become distant. The atmosphere changes, and everyone acts as if nothing happened. That's how invisible battles are fought. Not with fists, with manipulation, doubt, and carefully planted fear. Most people lose before the real fight even starts because they panic. They demand answers from people who already decided to lie. They chase explanations from people who never intended to tell the truth. They waste precious energy trying to fix relationships that were secretly broken long before they notice the cracks. Never underestimate someone who hides their intentions behind kindness. A sharp knife doesn't become harmless just because it's wrapped in velvet. The sweetest voice can carry the darkest intentions. Some people clap while secretly hoping you fail. Some people congratulate you while counting the days until you fall, not because you harmed them, but because your progress reminds them of their own surrender. The strange thing about being chosen as someone's enemy is that it forces you to see reality without decoration. The masks become visible. The fake loyalty becomes obvious. Every uncomfortable moment starts revealing information you ignored when life was easy. Pressure has a habit of introducing people exactly as they are. The biggest mistake is believing that every battle deserves your anger. Anger is expensive. Attention is valuable. Time is priceless. Not every attack deserves a reaction. Sometimes the greatest punishment for people waiting to destroy your peace is watching. You refuse to surrender it. They expect panic. They expect revenge. They expect emotional collapse. Instead, they meet patience, observation, and control. Nothing confuses an enemy more than someone who refuses to become emotional under pressure. While they waste energy creating chaos, you collect information. While they become louder, you become sharper. While they obsess over destroying you, you quietly become stronger than the version they believed they could defeat. 8 hours. That's all it can take for a comfortable life to become unfamiliar. People spend years believing that change arrives slowly, giving warnings before it enters the room. Reality has a different sense of humor. Sometimes everything shifts between sunrise and sunset. One conversation, one decision, one betrayal, one message, one unexpected move, and the world you trusted no longer feels the same. The funny thing is that nothing around you has physically changed. The streets are still there. The buildings still stand. The clock keeps ticking. Yet something feels completely different because the truth finally stepped out from behind its disguise. It wasn't the world that changed in 8 hours. It was your understanding of it. The illusion disappeared, leaving only reality standing in front of you. People often believe disasters arrive with loud alarms, but the most dangerous moments are quiet. A person stops replying with the same energy. A familiar face avoids eye contact. A promise suddenly becomes meaningless. Tiny details begin connecting like pieces of a puzzle you never wanted to solve. Every small sign that once looked harmless now carries a completely different meaning. Most people react by asking what they did wrong. They search for mistakes inside themselves because accepting someone else's hidden intentions feels too painful. They blame their personality, their choices, their kindness, even their dreams. They become prisoners inside their own minds, while the people responsible continue walking without guilt. Never rush to accuse yourself every time life changes direction. Not every storm is punishment. Some storms exist to expose weak foundations before you build something greater. Comfort has a dangerous habit of keeping your eyes closed. Pressure forces them open. The moment your peaceful routine breaks apart, your awareness becomes sharper than it has ever been. Watch how quickly people reveal themselves when circumstances change. Those who celebrated your victories yesterday suddenly become silent today. Those who promised loyalty begin protecting themselves first. Those who claimed they would never leave quietly disappear without explanation. They didn't transform overnight. They simply stopped pretending because the situation no longer required the mask. Fear whispers that everything is falling apart. Reality whispers something different. It says everything false is finally falling away. There is a massive difference between losing what was real and losing what only looked real. Pain cannot always tell the difference, but wisdom eventually can. Every hour of uncertainty teaches something comfort never could. You begin noticing patterns instead of promises. Actions become louder than speeches. Character becomes more valuable than reputation. You stop chasing approval because survival demands clarity, not applause. The greatest transformation never starts when life is easy. It begins when certainty disappears. The mind either collapses under confusion or adapts faster than anyone expected. Every difficult hour becomes a lesson in observation. Every unexpected challenge becomes training for a stronger identity. Every disappointment strips away another layer of illusion until only the truth remains. And truth has a strange way of making even the darkest day feel more valuable than years of comfortable lies. Pressure is the one force that never lies. It doesn't care about reputation, popularity, wealth, or beautiful words. It strips away every mask people spent years creating. The moment life becomes uncomfortable, everyone reveals the version of themselves they worked so hard to hide. Some discover courage they never knew existed. Others expose fear they spent a lifetime covering with confidence. When everything is peaceful, almost anyone can pretend to be loyal. It's easy to stand beside someone when success is flowing, laughter is constant, and there is nothing to lose. Smiles are cheap when the sun is shining. Promises are easy when they cost nothing. The real story begins the moment pressure enters the room. Suddenly, those confident voices become quiet. Those endless promises become empty. Those familiar faces begin searching for the nearest exit. Nothing exposes character faster than difficulty. Watch the people around you when things stop going according to plan. Some will encourage you even when they have nothing to gain. Others will disappear the second they believe your situation can no longer benefit them. The frightening part is that both groups often looked exactly the same before the pressure arrived. People wear masks because the world rewards appearances. Kindness can be fake. Respect can be borrowed. Loyalty can be rented. Even love can become a performance when someone wants something from you. Pressure destroys every performance because pretending requires comfort. The moment's survival becomes more important than appearance. People stop acting and start revealing. You begin noticing strange changes. The friend who always called suddenly becomes impossible to reach. The person who praised your ambition starts questioning every decision you make. Someone who once celebrated your victories quietly enjoys watching your struggles. They don't need to confess anything. Their behavior speaks louder than any explanation ever could. The biggest mistake is expecting everyone to fight beside you. Most people fight only for themselves. They stay close while your strength protects them. But the moment your battles become dangerous, they convince themselves that walking away is the smartest choice. They call it protecting their peace. They call it being realistic. Deep inside, they simply fear standing where courage is required. Pressure also introduces you to yourself. It shows whether your confidence depends on applause or conviction. It asks whether your values survive discomfort or disappear the moment life becomes unfair. Many people discover that they love the image of being strong more than the responsibility of actually becoming strong. The strange beauty of difficult moments is that they simplify life. You stop wasting time guessing who truly supports you, because reality answers the question without speaking. Every absence becomes a message. Every unexpected act of loyalty becomes unforgettable. Every betrayal becomes information instead of confusion. The people exposed by pressure are not suddenly becoming different. They are finally becoming visible. Their masks fall because holding them up becomes too exhausting. The truth walks into the light without asking permission, and once you've seen someone's real face during the hardest moments, no amount of smiles, excuses, or carefully chosen words can make the illusion believable again. Fear has a strange way of introducing itself. It never kicks down the door or announces its arrival. It slips quietly into your mind, sits beside your confidence, and begins whispering. It tells you that you're not ready. It tells you that you're alone. It tells you that the people coming after you are stronger, smarter, and impossible to defeat. The battle hasn't even started, yet fear convinces you that you've already lost. Most people spend their lives trying to escape fear, but running only teaches it to chase faster. Every step backward gives it more authority. Every excuse makes it louder. Fear grows every time you obey it. It feeds on hesitation, uncertainty, and imagination. The mind creates disasters that reality never intended to deliver. The greatest deception is believing courage means feeling no fear. Courage has never been the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep moving while fear is screaming in your ear. Every fearless person you admire has heard the same whispers. The difference is that they refused to let those whispers become commands. Your enemy hopes. Fear reaches you before they ever do. They know a frightened mind destroys itself better than any outside attack. Once doubt enters your thoughts, your focus disappears. You begin questioning every move, every decision, every strength you once believed you had. You become your own obstacle while they simply watch. That is why fear can become your greatest weapon if you understand it. Every moment your heart races, your senses become sharper. Every dangerous situation forces your attention into the present. You stop wasting energy on distractions because survival demands complete awareness. The same emotion that destroys weak thinking can strengthen disciplined thinking. Pressure reveals details. Comfort never notices. You begin reading people's intentions instead of listening to their promises. You notice patterns hidden beneath conversations. You recognize manipulation before it becomes damage. Fear stops being a prison and starts becoming an alarm system, warning you to stay alert instead of asleep. The strongest people are rarely the loudest. They understand that panic creates mistakes. They slow their breathing, observe everything, and refuse to react emotionally. While everyone else is controlled by fear, they quietly control themselves. That single difference changes the entire outcome of the battle. Never confuse aggression with power. Anyone can shout. Anyone can threaten. Anyone can pretend to be dangerous. Real power belongs to the person who remains calm while chaos surrounds them. A steady mind sees opportunities hidden inside confusion. An emotional mind sees only disaster. There comes a moment when fear realizes it can no longer control you. It keeps knocking, but you stop answering. It keeps whispering, but you stop believing. Every challenge that once looked impossible becomes another lesson proving your own resilience. The weapon your enemies expected to weaken, you slowly turns against them, because every attempt to intimidate you becomes another reason to sharpen your discipline, strengthen your focus, trust your instincts, and walk forward with a confidence that no threat, no betrayal, and no pressure can quietly steal away. Winning is misunderstood by almost everyone. People imagine victory as standing over a defeated enemy, proving everyone wrong, collecting applause, and watching the crowd finally admit they underestimated you. That picture is attractive, but it is also dangerous. The obsession with defeating others often becomes the fastest way to lose yourself. A person consumed by revenge slowly starts resembling the very people they once hated. The moment someone declares war against you, they hope to control your emotions. They want your attention. They want your anger. They want you to abandon your discipline and fight on their terms. The greatest trap is believing every attack deserves an immediate response. Emotional reactions are expensive. Calm decisions are priceless. Most battles are won long before anyone notices the result. They are won in silence, where nobody is clapping, nobody is watching, and nobody even knows a fight is happening. They are won every time you refuse to waste energy explaining yourself to people who already chose not to understand. They are won every time you ignore an insult that was carefully designed to provoke you. They are won every time your discipline speaks louder than your emotions. There will always be people waiting for you to become the villain in their story. They push your limits, hoping you'll finally explode. They spread rumors, hoping you'll defend yourself with desperation. They create chaos, hoping you'll lose control. The moment you react exactly as they expected, they celebrate because they no longer need to destroy your reputation. You have already done it for them. Control is the rarest form of strength. Anyone can throw a punch when they're angry. Anyone can scream when they're frustrated. Anyone can make promises in the heat of the moment. Very few people can remain composed while their patience is being tested. That is why self-control frightens people more than aggression. It cannot be manipulated easily. Never allow hatred to become your identity. Hatred is addictive. It convinces you that every decision should revolve around the people who hurt you. Without realizing it, they continue controlling your life, even after they've disappeared. They become the center of your thoughts, while you slowly forget your own purpose. The smartest move is to make your growth louder than your revenge. Let your success answer questions your words never could. Let your consistency become the response to every insult. Let your character become the proof that pressure failed to break you. Nothing is more frustrating to an enemy than watching someone become stronger without becoming bitter. There is a difference between protecting yourself and becoming cruel. Strength does not require the destruction of your values. You can become harder without becoming heartless. You can become wiser without becoming cold. You can learn from betrayal without turning into someone who betrays everyone else. Real victory arrives the moment your decisions are no longer controlled by pain. You stop chasing revenge because your future becomes more valuable than your past. You stop seeking approval because your self-respect becomes enough. You stop fighting unnecessary battles because your energy belongs to goals that actually matter, leaving your enemies trapped inside the conflict they created, while you quietly continue becoming someone they can no longer reach, manipulate, or understand.